it's much easier to be in the giving side than the asking side or the needing side. So as long as I could be in the giving side in every aspect of my life, I really try to, to do everything in my power to actually be at that side and to justify it.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. This episode is powered by J Ventures, a community-driven VC fund in Silicon Valley in partnership with HiTech and sponsored by Hippo Insurance, Turing, Upwest Labs, and Hillel at Stanford. This one is about impact and a lot of impact. Meet Batsheva Moshe, manager of Poalim HiTech activity at Bank Hapoalim. Batsheva is the manager of Poalim HiTech activity, the banking arm of Bank Hapoalim for startups and high-tech companies. Prior, she served as the strategic consultant to the Chairman of Bank Hapoalim, and beforehand, Batsheva was the CEO of Unistream, one of Israel's most influential and impactful NGOs that narrows the socio-economic gaps by empowering youth and young adults from underprivileged communities to establish startups and integrate into the high-tech industry. Batsheva Moshe, welcome to my show. How are you?
Great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm so grateful to have you here. We're gonna have a fantastic conversation. The truth is, we already had a fantastic conversation, and I'm extremely lucky because I get to have two conversations now, where everybody's just gonna get to listen to one of them. So I am the winner of this whole situation. Thank you for making the time again. But Sheva, the impact that you've had on people around you is phenomenal. I can't think of many people who've had this extraordinary impact, all the way from your work with Unistream and today your work with Poalim HiTech and your work with helping people find jobs. And I think that it all speaks to this overarching idea that you shared with me about making a greater impact. And I'd love to just go back a little bit through your story and hear from you what went down. How did you get to where you are today and where you're headed?
Where should I start? At the beginning.
All the way to the beginning.
Okay, so I was born and raised to a really Zionist family. My father made Aliyah from the U.S. And it was really a part of, my education, thinking about Israel and, creating an impact. And when I was a teenager, I started doing a lot of volunteer work. Of course, I was a part of a youth movement, and when I finished my high school, I joined the national service, and I was the head of a branch of Bnei Akiva, which is one of the largest youth movements in Israel. And for the first time, I was in what's called Ayarot Pituach, which is like I don't know how to translate that, but I was head of the branch there, and for the first time, I met teenagers and kids that, didn't have the best starting point and had a lot of challenges in their lives in order to strive and in order to be successful. And for me to meet them and to see people that are coming from, a challenging socioeconomic situation, it gave a lot of insights of what kind of person do I want to be, or do I want to become? And in addition, how lucky am I to come from a strong family that could, guide me throughout this very difficult life and start sometimes really scary life. And I decided to dedicate a lot of my time in the future to try to make this place better and to try to give people that didn't have the same opportunities as I did, big opportunities and new opportunities to become successful, to go on the right path, to have opportunities to choose their future. So when I met my amazing husband called Shai, actually it was a part of my national service. I met him there. When we decided to get married, we thought where will be our first home. And we heard about this phenomena called young communities of families that are going all over Israel to the peripheral areas, to build their, homes there and try to create an impact from the inside, try to become a part of the community, improve the education system, volunteer, work with the welfare department, et cetera, et cetera. So we heard about Akko, which was at that time considered to be a challenging place. They've been through an amazing path because of a great leadership in the town. But at that time, it was after the second מלחמת לבנון השנייה, and the moral of the community was really, really down to earth.
Right.
And many strong families has left the town to different locations, and the situation became even tougher than it was before. So we, from today to tomorrow, decided to move to Akko. We're both from the center of Israel, and we find an apartment there in some really, challenging neighborhood. Let's call it that. And
Wow.
And started we were very young. I was 22 years old, and we started our first, journey there. And I met, difficulties all around me. People that really their starting point of life is really, really, really challenging. Everything I knew before, even in my national service, didn't even come close to the situation we met there. And the socio-economic situation was really bad for, I would say, even the majority of the residents in the town. And it was, I was pretty desperate because I saw so many amazing organizations working in Akko and trying to create an impact. And when you're looking at the big picture, it doesn't really seem like something is moving around, even though there are so many good people that are trying to create a better future and a better, present for this place. When I was 25, a few years after we moved to Akko, I heard about an organization called Unistream. I never heard of them before. And I came to understand that they have an entrepreneurship center in Akko, actually like a street across from my apartment.
Amazing.
And I went for an interview to lead the center, the entrepreneurship center in Akko. When I first came into the center, I saw these teenagers, shining in their eyes and talking about their startups and their fundraising and about their investment committee and all of that, and telling me what they're doing. And I was like, oh my God, there is like a different thing going on here. And I came to learn about the organization. It was already about 11 years old. And the idea was that instead of like telling you, become a leader, fulfill your dreams, let's give you the pathway, let's give you the tools in order to change your economic situation and become a part of the startup nation for real. So the methodology of this organization says that if we'll start early enough with teenagers, which is a very important stage of their life because it's before the army, it's before the university, and it's soon enough in order to change, the way you finish high school. So let's give you everything you need, the network, the knowledge, the experience in order to do entrepreneurship, to establish your own startup company. And we'll walk you through this process. And eventually, first of all, you'll understand that there is a whole world out there that you weren't familiar of. And in addition, you'll know the people, you'll know the opportunities that you potentially have in order to choose differently, or in order to have a different life than the sky has written for you. I don't know how to translate that, but I fell in love in the organization. So I was the head of the center for 1 year. I led a few startups, a few groups of teenagers. And a year after that, I became a part of the management. It was a management team. It was a real small organization. We all in all, we were 20 people.
Wow.
And it was really cool. I had a lot of fun, but I thought we could do more than that. 3 years after that, I had a meeting with the chairman of the organization. His name is Ronnie Tarum. And I didn't really know him before. I saw him a few times. We never talked. And it was a really good conversation. And I was like on my way out of the organization because I felt I gave everything I could in this, scope. And, I can't do anything more in my specific position. And I don't have where to grow to. Above me, there is a CEO, and that's it. And finishing the conversation, he says, can you be the next leader of Unistream? And I looked at him. I was 29. I didn't really manage, something meaningful in the past. I looked him in the eyes and said, of course I can. And he's like, okay, pretty much from now on, you're the new CEO of Unistream. So even though it was a small organization, about 5 million shekels, the budget, and 20 employees, about 500 teenagers, I felt I received the opportunity of my life. And I decided that, nothing will stand in my way, and I'll be the best thing that ever happened to Unistream. And I really tried to, even though I thought that there is a lot of knowledge and a lot of skills that I don't have. But, I really wanted to be successful and create a big impact. And I think that, there isn't anything stronger than will. In Hebrew, there is the phrase, אין דבר עומד בפני הרצון, and it's really true. So really the day after started changing the organization and pretty much making it bigger, more like creating a larger impact. And when I mean larger, I was talking about not only location and the number of participants. I understood that we need to take it to the next step, because before that we were working only with teenagers, and we weren't there for them for real in the day after, when they're actually starting their life. And that's even more important than working with teenagers, because that's the first time they're going out to this big world, this scary world, and no one is, on their back taking care of them. So we started creating all kinds of alumni program, and then training programs to become a part of the HiTech industry, training for all kinds of position and placement program, in order to actually make sure that our alumni are integrated into the companies, and then all kinds of programs to the communities and the parents and everything else. And from, for like in 1 year or 2 years, this organization became like a multinational organization, working in about 100 locations in Israel, working in the United States, more than 4 times the budget, and so many people involved. We had more than 5,000 people that volunteered in Unistream. Everyone in the ecosystem, in the HiTech ecosystem, were a part of Unistream, and we had this big, huge event in Echala Tarbut every year called the Entrepreneur of the Year competition, and 3,000 people have came to this competition to see Unistream, and it really is unbelievable. And I was really inspired by looking at this, at the HiTech industry, and the way that they like chose to be involved and to contribute and to be a part of this amazing journey. So about a year before I left Unistream, I came to the conclusion that, okay, you need to say goodbye when you have the energy, like day one, and not too late. And when I looked around me, I thought that if I want to create even more impact, I need a phase in my life in the business industry, because it's like the missing part. I'm talking about entrepreneurship, I'm talking about business, but I have never been actually a part of any kind of a business institution or a startup, only in the impact. Yeah. So only in the social impact aspect. And I felt like it's like some kind of a deficit that I have and I need to overcome. And I was starting to talk with some CEOs of big HiTech companies, and actually not many, because I was really, really focused. I wanted specific companies that I could look at and say they're not only, successful, they're doing some kind of an impactful aspect. They have some kind of an impact of changing the world. I can give some examples, but anyway, I was in this starting to talk with all of those CEOs. And then I had like a pretty unexpected meeting with Oded Eran, Zichrono Livracha, which was the former chairman of Bank Hapoalim. And he was like asking me, even though I never told him I'm about to leave or I'm thinking about it, he was asking me, what are your plans for the future? And I told him I made a decision. I need to move to the business world. I need this phrase in my life. And I told him, I'm looking at this company and this startup and this HiTech company, etc. And he's like, okay, you're going to your comfort zone. Listen to me. You want to learn about business, really to learn about the business world? Come to Bank Hapoalim, work with me. So I was like, oh my God, the amazing chairman of Bank Hapoalim called me. What do I know about banks? Nothing, actually. But he really, I don't know why, he really believed in me and he really wanted me to come. So I thought about it for a day, even though I said a week. And I waited another day so I wouldn't look too enthusiastic about it. And then I texted him, okay, boss, when do we start? So 7 months after that, because I had to give a long notice for Unistream, 7 months after that, a year and a half, a year and a half ago, I started working with him as the strategic consultant for the chairman of Bank Hapoalim. And for the first time, I was sitting, in all of the board meetings and with, all kinds of strategic conversation and big projects and big things that are influencing not only the bank, but the whole economic, you could say the whole economic industry of Israel, because this organization is really large and manages so much money of the public. And there are so many important decisions and responsibility that we have to take into consideration in everything that we do. And I have to say that from day one, I was trying to find a place of myself to continue the social impact and not only the business journey that I decided to take. Because, eventually when I wake up in the morning, this is what I'm looking for. How did I make this world better? And it's not like, how do I say that? It's not like a gimmick or something like that. It's really what makes me, smile in the morning. So when I started at Bank Hapoalim, pretty quickly I joined Poalim Bakehila, which is the foundation of Bank Hapoalim that is responsible for all the social activism of the bank, which actually does so many amazing things. But being in the side that actually have the resources is really different. Is really different than being in the side that always asks for the resources. I can't say which side is better, because there is something that there is, a meaning for you actually doing the things and not only, deploying the money to other organizations to do. But I think that we in Bank Hapoalim really try not to be only, the money givers, but actually involved in the organization, empowering them, guiding them, helping them grow in so many ways, initiating a lot of projects of our own. But still, it was a journey. It wasn't easy for me this past year. And a year after that, first of all, unfortunately, Oded Eran has passed away. Of course, it was very sudden, and he was an amazing person. And I am so privileged to have this, 10 months of working with him. I learned so much, mainly not only about business, as he promised to teach me that, but about, seeing a person that is so high level person, one of the, most wanted positions in the market probably. But he was really, really, really a modest person. And I'm always saying that, I learned anava from Oded. He who because wherever we went, he was always thinking about the people, thinking about the small person that's in the room, asking him how he felt and how can he help him, etc. And for me, it was amazing looking up to him and learning from that.
Okay, so the last thing that we talked about was this understanding of impact, joining a Poalim, working with your phenomenal partner, and then transitioning now to a different opportunity that is making a huge impact in the ecosystem, and that's part of your bigger trajectory as well.
Yeah. So actually, when Oded was sick, and I understood that soon he will be leaving the bank. Unfortunately, no one thought it will be so fast. I started thinking about my next step, and I thought I want to go back to be uh, more closer to the impact industry, let's call it that, and to find a more accurate spot for me that will combine my values and will keep me at this path of learning about the business world and growing my scope of knowledge and all of that. And then there was the opportunity to join Poalim HiTech, which is the banking arm of Bank Hapoalim for startups and growth companies. And the high-tech industry eventually, I think, is first of all, it's the most amazing industry because really there is much more than just doing business. It's growing the nation. It's growing opportunities. It's a sector that it doesn't see background or a socioeconomic situation or nothing like that. It sees the potential at you, and this is why you can see so many entrepreneurs that are coming from surprising backgrounds and all over the world, and specifically in Israel. And I think it's an amazing platform for people to change their future, like we talked before about Unistream.
Right.
And in addition, there are so many fields in the high tech industry that improve the world. So everything in that makes me feel that I'm in the right spot because on the one side, I'm doing business. I'm actually a banker. You can say that I'm giving services to the startups and credit lines and everything. And we're leading a fund of fund program, investing in VCs and doing all kinds of other things that has to do with banking services to the high tech industry. But in addition, there's so much space for innovation and so much room for growing the ecosystem and giving values and contributing our aspects to the startup nation. And I always say in Poalim HiTech in every pitch that every opportunity that I have that I see that as Zionism because eventually this is the leadership of the business industry in Israel. This is the future of the business industry in Israel. And everyone says, that the COVID showed that more than ever when everyone sank down, unfortunately, and so many sectors in the business industry went down. The high tech went up, unbelievably and gave so many opportunity, economic opportunity, placement opportunity, philanthropy opportunity, so many aspects of influence that the high tech industry has created and is creating right now. And I feel that first of all, I'm learning so much, and there is so much space for innovation in my current position. And the high tech industry is growing, and I think we need to be a part of that, and we need to nurture that, and we need to do everything in our power as one of the leading financial organizations in Israel in order to move this train even faster and to grow this amazing industry even more than it was before. And it combines really many of my values, and I feel really happy to be in this path today.
But Shiv, I have to say that, tying it all together, all the way from, getting that personal experience, saying that, around also Israel, we have, all these communities that need the support and need this assistance. And it's not just the startup nation and Tel Aviv. Going into an organization, understanding how to make an impact on a specific group of people, growing the organization, tenfold as the CEO for many years, and making it international and making such a huge impact today. Every single person I walk on the street, they know Unistream, we're just so proud to have this amazing organization as part of our DNA, as part of our core culture. Every year in Echala Tarbut, the main stage of Israel, having this competition among youth that would have never necessarily thought about building a company. I think that's just it's an incredible thing that I'm completely inspired by. But even more than that, understanding that the continuing to make this impact and growing this impact, getting that business opportunity and getting that business experience, going to a bank, which you wouldn't necessarily think of as a high-tech entrepreneurial activity, but it really is because it's such a core part of our ecosystem. And your role specifically as head of Poalim HiTech, making that intersection, I think it's phenomenal, and I'm so excited to see the incredible impact you're going to continue doing and getting inspired by it. And one day, please let me work for you. But until then, Batsheva, thank you for coming to this show. I really appreciate it. And I need three words that you would use to describe yourself.
Wow. Entrepreneurship, definitely. I want to say leadership. And I need another one.
It's a hard one.
Yeah. I want to say I want to say giving, trying to be the giving person.
I love that. I just love
That's
that.
really important. I always say, try, it's much easier to be in the giving side than the asking side or the needing side. So as long as I can be in the giving side in every aspect of my life, I really try to do everything in my power to actually be at that side and to justify it. So I want to say giving.
Amazing.
And I hope I will be able to say that for the rest of my life.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for the inspiration.
Thank
This
you.
was just inspiring, and stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. Thank you very much.